All right, number 10, this problem this time wants us to rationalize the numerator. Okay, so it's not the norm, but we want to make sure you can do that if needed. And there's a very little subtle difference that you want to pay attention to when you're solving this problem. Notice that the variable is in parentheses. If I go back like to a couple of previous problems, I'm going to save this attempt because I did similar. Notice that the variable is not in parentheses here nor here, and it shouldn't make a big difference because it's going to compute the same, but as far as notation is concerned, you have to have that when you put your final answer in. So do note little subtle differences like that. Okay. So in this case we have a big square root, and this is number 10, not number 11. We have big square root, and then we have cosine of x divided by sine to the 11th power of x. And I will rewrite these guys with their own square roots. Cosine of x, and then on the bottom we'll get the square root of sine to the 11th power of x. Now, before I rationalize, I'm going to simplify the denominator. And what I mean is that square roots are going to divide this power by 2. 11 isn't divisible by 2, so I'm going to rewrite it so that I can get something that will be much more easier to explain and understand when you're reducing radicals. So we have square root of cosine of x on the bottom. I'm going to write this as sine to the 10th power of x times sine of x. So what I've done is I've just taken one of those signs out. Alright, so from here you can see that 10 divided by 2 will give us 5. So that these will come out and become sine to the 5th power on the outside, and this 1 will be left by itself because it's not divisible by 2. So we will end up with the square root of the cosine of x on the bottom, 10 divided by 2 because it's a power of 2. Whatever power you have, that's what you divide your exponents by, and whatever comes out evenly, that's what you put on the outside. So sine to the 5th power of x times the square root of sine of x. Alright, and then lastly, to rationalize the numerator, we need to, I need to put these parentheses here, we need to multiply by cosine, square root of cosine. Square root cosine of x on the top and the bottom. And so when we do that, the square root will go away on the top. It'll be this term squared, and square root cancel out, so we get cosine of x, and then on the bottom sine to the 5th power of x, and then since these are both under square roots, you can multiply them together. So we have square root sine x times cosine x. I gotta be careful, gotta have those parentheses. It makes a difference. You'll put the right answer in and it will count it wrong. So I think I can do it once just to show you what I mean. Division bar cosine x. I'm not going to put the parentheses this time, just so you can see. Sine raised to the 5th power of x, come down, x, and then square root sine x cosine x. Now it's going to tell me wrong. Okay, and then now I'm going to go back and add the parentheses. Add the parentheses around each of the variables x. Parentheses here and parentheses here. Okay, and then that should give us the okay. So just a small difference. It's the same thing, so be careful when you notice that.